All right. Good morning, traders. It is Monday. Time for your dose of Comic Book University. Um, so, I'm going to discuss really one thing in particular today as it pertains to the hobby. And this came about because of a conversation that we had in a Facebook group where somebody was asking values on a book or whatever. And I can't even remember what the book was. That's kind of irrelevant to what we're going to discuss here. But before we get into all that, a couple things I wanted to mention. So this coming up weekend, Saturday, we're going to have our own little C3 mini event. We've got Cardboard Crazies that's going to come on with us, and we're going to do some stacker auctions. We're going to just talk about books, art, comics, toys, whatever is kind of striking our fancy at the moment. We're going to be going live from 2 o'clock in the afternoon till 8 o'clock at night, so 6 hours Mountain Time, because I am here in Utah. So, make sure you tune in, be part of the conversation. You can join us if you'd like. All the proceeds from this C3 event, of course, are going to help fund cancer research and wellness programs with the American Cancer Society. Specifically, we're raising funds this weekend to help reopen the Hope Lodge in Salt Lake, which is a home away from home for people that are undergoing cancer treatment. They get to stay there for free while they're undergoing treatment. So it won't be a hardship on them. So that's going on this weekend, again, 2 p.m. Mountain Time. I do know that for that final hour, Chris from Cardboard Crazy is going to join me. He's the founder of the C3 movement. I'm really honored to have him come on and have a good discussion. So we're going to talk about some books, and these books will be available during the auction. So you'll get to see those in a minute here. One thing I wanted to highlight real quick is, of course, we're doing the Road to 1,000 event where it's our Grow Together initiative, and we've got a few of our participating channels, and I'll throw their links up here so you can sub them up. What we're trying to do is get all these great content creators up to 1,000 subs. And once we're up to 1,000 subs, we're going to be giving away a copy of Amazing Spider-Man 300 First Venom. So that's going to be a great prize. But we have great prizes along the way. Our first goalpost is 300, and we are nearly there. We'll show you guys where we're at. So this is my little spreadsheet. So my channel, I'm at 215 subs on YouTube. Then next we have Tomorrow Cinema. Tomorrow Manny does some amazing content. He does a weekly on Wednesday night show. And it's a different subject every week. I go on the first Wednesday of every month and we discuss what we're reading in comic books. He right now is at 461, so above that threshold. Next, we've got Nick Comic Culture. If you're not following Nick on YouTube, he has a bunch of great content for newer collectors. He does a lot of streaming from his local comic shop, and he's putting out 4 or 5 videos a week. Just amazing content and a great guy, a pillar of community, and has donated books to this Grow Together initiative. So go sub him up. He's only at 292, so 8 more, and he'll be at the 300 mark, so we can cross him off the list. Good morning, Nick. We're just discussing about you, trying to get some people over there to sub up to your channel. Of course, we've got TM Nerdy, Travis. He has hit the 300. He's at 338. Of course, we're on our way to, what that's super cool, is he will actually interview members of the comic book community, of our YouTube community, and he's up to like 17 or something like that now. And I'm going to be going on with him before too long here. Then we have Big Herm Collectibles. Big Herm, of course, a lot of unboxings and cool stuff like that. Always talking comic books, very positive attitude. And he does a show with Sam on Wednesdays as part of that Bad Batch Whiplash Wednesday. So your whole Wednesday afternoon is tied up there. We, of course, have our 3 honorable mentions. We've got Bleakhaven. These are 3 channels, so we do not have to get up to that 1,000. We just want to mention them because they're fantastic. Bleakhaven is a new comic book company, and they're putting out an anthology, kind of like the old Tales from the Crypt type thing. Very cool. The writers and artists are really, they really dig, like, I don't know what I'm trying to say. They really dig mythology, and they're trying to bring that in. They've got a book, Bert the Mothman. It's all about the Mothman mythology, and it's actually a charity book they're putting out to help a company called Stand for the Silent to end bullying and suicide, teenage suicides. Then we have Fable. Everybody knows who Fable is. Real strong presence on Instagram. I watch his show every Wednesday on Insta. Try to get on when I can, and he's doing great stuff over there. And Comic Kings. This cat is doing a great job. Follow him on TikTok. He's at 322 on the YouTubes. So once we get those final 2 channels, myself, I'm at 215. So I need 85 more subs. And Nick is almost there, 8 more subs, and he's going to be up there. And we'll give away our first batch of books. So keep that in mind. Sub up those channels and show them some love. All right. So into what we're going to be talking about today. So I was... I need to take a drink. The coffee, Comics on Coffee. I'm drinking the Santa Claus Rose. It's pretty good. I bought it ground. I usually grind my own, and I bought that one ground, and I think that takes a little bit of the fullness away from a cup of coffee, but it's really good for a ground coffee. I'm going to buy the beans next time when I get that one. So anyway, I was in a YouTube discussion, or not YouTube, a Facebook discussion, and somebody had thrown out Key Collector as a price guide. And I'm going to kind of go through my personal process and what I think is very accurate. And I want you to keep in mind that I've actually done the research on this, right? So I've brought up these apps, and I've taken what they say is the value of a comic book, and I've compared it to Overstreet and average of eBay sales, and so on. So I know, so it just gives me a basis to know what the realistic fair market value of the book is, compared to where they're at on these apps. And I can't remember the book that we were talking about. I do now remember the book. It was Amazing Spider-Man. No, not Amazing Spider-Man. Spider-Man, the McFarlane 90s run. It was issue number 1, the platinum variant with the lizard error. So all that combined, the seller was asking $1,700 for the book, which to me seemed really outlandish. I'm having a hard time tracking that specific combination, the platinum variant with the lizard printing error, right? So he was asking $1,700, and that's really neither here nor there. One of the people threw out Key Collector as a pricing information source, and we got in the conversation about the pros and cons of the app itself. I, of course, like many of us, have Key Collector, and I use it all the time. I think there's great information on Key Collector, and I do a bunch of long box diving with this in hand. It came in quite handy at the convention this weekend. One of the stores, local stores, was selling a long box. You get to go through their, they called it the Comic Cove, and fill up an entire long box for $100. I mean, even if you're buying just trash fillers, it's worth $100 for a long box. Especially when you get to pick your own. So with Key Collector in hand and my Cover Price app, I went through and we searched boxes for hours. Me and my buddy James from Hive Comics, we were diving in boxes. But this gentleman on Facebook was touting Key Collector as the place to go to get values on your books, and we're going to discuss that. Real quick, Nick chimed in. Yeah. So CLZ, I've pretty much completely gotten away from CLZ. I can track my collection in Key Collector. It's a little more clunky than CLZ. CLZ has a real easy way to just kind of look and see what's in your collection. But I don't like their pricing because they only take into account graded books. And I'm not sure how consistent that is. So I've kind of gotten away from CLZ. I still pay for it. I mean, it's like $3 a month, and I still pay for it. I probably shouldn't, but I found I can do all of that in Cover Price, and it keeps me up to date on my raw books as well. So I really like that. Circumstances, good morning. Good to see you here this morning. Everybody's saying hi to Nick. We all love Nick. Make sure you're subbed up to Nick if you're not. I'm telling you, cool cat, great content. Yes, and see, my biggest, this is a tangent we're going off on here. My biggest issue with CLZ as far as tracking is CLZ does a great job of tracking your collection. I don't know if I can rely on the values, mostly because I'm a raw comic collector, and I want that comprehensive. You know, I can look at it and see what all is in my collection. But I can't remember where I was going with that. Oh yeah, the CLZ. Okay, so with Cover Price, it's web-based, and on my phone they have a mobile website that I go to. They don't have an actual app. It's a mobile website, and it's easy to navigate, and it's very quick, and it works every bit as good as an app, but it translates over to my PC. So when I'm sitting in front of my PC, I can bring it up and see the exact same information. You can't do that with CLZ. You have to actually pay more to use the PC interface with CLZ, and I don't like that. I would actually be willing to pay more for CLZ if that information would transfer over to my desktop, which it does not. So that's my number one biggest pet peeve with the CLZ app. But I mean, it is fantastic when you're out hunting and this is what you have in your hand. It's probably the best for tracking your collection because it brings everything up. With Cover Price, you have to go to the website and you kind of have to do quite a bit of scrolling and that type of stuff. But with CLZ, which decided it's not going to launch on my phone for some reason. Oh, there we go. So I can bring up, we'll do Conan the Barbarian, Volume 1. So you guys can see how right away you can see all the books that you have in your collection. So that's everything that I had. I haven't updated this in a very long time, but that's everything I had at one point. I've probably doubled that in the last couple of weeks. But when I'm out on the hunt digging through long boxes, I can just take a look at that and it'll give me an idea of what I need to pick up. So for that, I really like it. It's a lot easier when you're out on the hunt. And I may just update that so I can have that available when I'm out hunting. Don't have to scroll through my cover price, because that does get to be kind of time consuming. All right, so back to what I was saying. So we're going to take a look at two books and how I got these books into my possession. These are actually going to be available at the auction this weekend. A couple hot and really moving, they're upwardly mobile MCU keys. We've got Doctor Strange and the Sorcerer Supreme. So this is issue number 1 and issue number 3. There's Key Collector has 3 keys listed. Of course, this issue number 1, first appearance of Demon Rider, which is a American Indian, a Native American hero that's been possessed. And then first appearance of Nina the Conjurer, and first team appearance of the Forgotten. This one has origin of Demon Rider, who later becomes Spirit Rider. Okay, so a couple hot books right now. There's a lot of spec around Ghost Rider right now. Of course, diverse characters are a big thing right now, which is really cool. I'm a big Doctor Strange collector, so this one caught my eye really quick. And what I did is, basically, if you go to your Key Collector app, okay, there's this section here that says dollar bin diving, and you bring that up, and it gives you just a bunch of books. Right now, we've got Pinky and the Brain, number 26 is on there, which is you can't even see it that way, but it is very funny. It's got Pinky it's a cover swipe from 1991 Vanity Fair, where Demi Moore is pregnant. But you just go down there, and it gives you hot books that are kind of starting to take off. And so I scrolled through that list, and I do this. I go into Black Cat Comics, the local comic shop, and I'll pull this up, and I'll just look for the book. So I'm going to go in there tomorrow, and I'll look for Pinky and the Brain issue number 26. And then he has a back stock. And so what I did is I found this book on there, Doctor Strange number 1. And I pulled it out of the box. I'm like, all right, that's a moving book. And he only had one in the box. And then I'm like, all right, do you have any more? And he had a few more. And I bought all of them that he had. So I got a handful of these. I got a handful of number 3. And so that's one way that we use the Key Collector app. So for that, and we're going to take a look at these specific books and look at comparative prices. Real quick, John's Comics and Kids almost joined CLZ this summer and went all in. Let's see. I don't think you'll regret it. Best way to track your collection, although other options. Yes, I think that's where I'm at with CLZ. I think I'm going to keep it and update it, just because when you're out on a hunt, and we are people that hunt, that's going to come in handy. I'm still going to keep my personal collection updated on my cover price, and I'm never getting rid of cover price, because for a price guide, it's unparalleled right now. They're doing it right. They're doing a great job. But for ease of use, when you're out on a hunt, CLZ far surpasses anything that's on the market. Circumstances, I jumped on Defenders number 1 to get some Doctor Strange vibes in my life. I've never collected him before. Yeah, I've always been a big Doctor Strange guy. When the movie came out, I kind of went nuts. I actually, at the convention this weekend, bought like my 10th copy of Doctor Strange number 50, the one with the foil cover, and he's casting. Very cool. So anyway, yes, cover price does track, and they've got a wish list and a what's in your collection. It's pretty easy to add books in. The thing I like about it is you get to guesstimate your grade. You get to with CLZ, you have to assign raw prices to your book. So you have to do all that research. With cover price, all you have to do is click and ask if it's raw or graded. And if it's graded, you put in the grade. So pretty simple. And they'll even do the math for you. So if you're looking at cover price, we'll get into that in a minute. I'll just get into that in a minute. So, all right. So back to the conversation here. So I'm going to show you, this is the same information that you get from the app on cover price. Now, the gentleman was pretty argumentative. He wanted to prove he was right. And, you got to take those situations with a grain of salt and try to be as understanding and empathetic as you can, while the whole time, stating your point. It's very important that all of these people get the proper information, because it doesn't just affect me and the gentleman that's having a conversation. It's going to affect the original poster and everybody that reads that thread. So I wanted to make sure that the proper information, and by the end of the conversation, the guy's like, "Oh, I understand where you're coming from," and we've actually had a separate conversation in Messenger where we become friendly and going to do some work together. So this particular book, Doctor Strange and the Sorcerers of Supreme #1, is showing a high sell value of $35. Now, I've heard from multiple places that Key Collector takes their information from Go Collect, which then would be graded pricing. If I'm not wrong, I've never even logged into Go Collect. I've got no horse in that game, so I'm not bashing on Go Collect at all. I don't know what they do, and they may do it better, and I'm missing out. I don't know. So they're listing low sells at $3, high sells at $35. And #3, they're listing low sells at $1 and high sells at $5. I would buy every single one I could come by at $5. I would probably pick these up at $35, and I'll show you why. As I said, cover price to me has the most comprehensive average that I've seen their algorithm. I've talked to the owner of the company, and I know how they do it. They basically take pricing information from eBay, Mercari, Heritage Auctions, My Comic Shop auctions, and another big auction house. It escapes me at the moment. But they take those sales and they average it out to get you your price. But we all know realistically it's 90% eBay, probably 5% Mercari, and everything else is thrown in the rest. But where Key Collector lists this book at a high of $35, a high, which means that's the highest sell at $35, cover price has an average raw sell on this book at $42.58. So that's not even a high sell. That's average raw. And it's showing that we had a raw comic sale on August 16th for $44.95, $45, a full $10 over what Key Collector has that valued at. We're showing raw 9.8 sales of the book at $300. And we go down here to actual data, sales data. On 7/25, we had a sale of, what did that say, $59 for the book. We've got a $54 sale on the 27th of July. In August, we're looking at $45, $35, $50, $41. So well above that Key Collector price. And then let's take a look at issue #3. Now, this is the big one that is really surprising. So we're showing a high sell on Key Collector of $5. And we're going to pop to issue number 3. And that one's showing a high sell of, or an average raw sell of 35. So $30 difference with a high sell on August 2nd of $45. No graded books hitting the auction sites as of yet. And this is not by any means 100% foolproof. I've seen issues on cover price, but I've seen so many fewer issues on cover price than anywhere else that I feel comfortable and confident using it. And the way I price my books is I use this number. That's basically what I sell my books at. So an average. So there are sells more. I don't go for that high sell. I go for an average. I think that's the fair way to do it. And I quite often knock a couple bucks off of that. Y'all know that there's discounts codes out there for channels I sponsor. But this book up 4%. A lot of great information in cover price. Tells you that the book's trending up over the last 30 days. That's, I believe, this one is a 7-day trend, if I'm not wrong. It gives you a high sell here. It gives you average sell here. So you don't have to look up the last 10 on eBay and average amount because it does it for you. And I really like that. Total number, 83 recorded sales. We got 83 raw comics reported. Your top 3 highest sells here, and your top 3 lowest sells here. So it gives you great information. You look at this, you've got the numbers. So you got $44.95. What was a sell made on 8/2? We got 35 on 7/29, 30 on 7/28. So it's steadily creeping up over the last few weeks. And then to get the lowest sell of $2, you have to go all the way back to June 27th. So almost 2 months ago. So in the last 45 days at least, the book has shot up considerably. So, and that's compared to the information from, like I said, from Key Collector, which showing this at a high sell of $5. And I've actually did the groundwork on this. I went to eBay and compared these prices, and you get to see the exact sells that cover price is referring to. So you know that that's accurate. So the long and the short of it is, Key Collector, although it's fantastic when you're out on a hunt and you're looking for things, don't look at that Key Collector number. I actually will pull up Key Collector and look at the books, and so I know what I'm actually looking for. And then when I pull it out of the box and I know I have it, I then go over to cover price and check the value. So I have to use the two. Cover price has started doing hotkeys and that type of stuff, and you go to their homepage and they have some kind of groovy features here that will do that. I don't think so. These are your weekly top 10s. Of course, that Batman Urban Legends hit number 1. Oh, it hit in 1, 2, and 3 slot. Wow, that's killer. I picked up a set. I got a few extras of that number 1. I think we're going to throw that in the auction this weekend. These other 2 books, of course, are making some moves. Exile. So these, and if I'm remembering correctly, this is very close to the Key Collector sourced Comic Tom list. Certainly these are top 20 in the Comic Tom list, or on the Key Collector. So very, very similar. Weekly movers, it shows you what has moved the most. We're up 17% on the trade dress for Urban Legends. Moon Knight 13 shooting up like crazy, up 14%. 28% on Miles Morales Spider-Man 29. Wow, that's killer. So great information there. Daily movers, so you can bring this up and look at what's moving daily. Batman 608. I've seen a lot of those recently. First Galactus shooting up. Then you got new releases. So a lot of great information there. And I may sound like I'm being a shill for Cover Price. I wish that I could say they sponsored me. I actually approached them at one point and they decided to go a different direction, but I still love what they're doing over there. So big supporter of Key Collector. All right. So that's kind of my spiel on pricing and the tools that we use. Of course, eBay is always a good indicator because if you look at finished auctions, and that's what most people like to go by, the fallacy there, I believe, is if you're looking at eBay finished listings, the tendency for people to do that is to go for that highest sell. And that's just not what I'm about. I mean, I want a good deal when I'm buying a book. I like to give good deals to people that are buying books from me. So I try to stay away from those high sells. We'll scroll up in the chat a little bit. That was Conversation Defenders #1. My beautiful bride is in the chat. Let's see. I got my first Comic-Con this Friday, so I've been consuming Comic-Con tips. Comic-Con tips for me, get one of these. I don't have any gifts sitting around. I actually have 3 of these that I keep in my Comic-Con bag. This is your store folio. It's a great place. It's just a box. A hard box to put your books in. You can get them with plain black covers. I have quite a few that have the full color covers. There's a cool Transformer one. I've got the Darkness. Probably going to be giving away some of these this weekend in the auction. But they don't fit slabs. They don't fit anything in a top loader. But to throw your books in there, to carry them around without them getting smashed, they're nice and sturdy, and so it's a great way to transport your books. That's important for a con, and my biggest tip in cons is, like, we're in a situation where they had 2 rows of 3 or 4 8-foot tables, so a lot of long boxes, and they were letting you dig through the long boxes. You pull them out, you fill up a long box. So a full short box was $75. Full long box was $100. We all know we can get a lot of books in a long box. I think my long box was 281 books is how many I got in there. So right about 35 cents a book, and I got some great books out of there too. But while we're there digging, I always listen to what everybody else is saying, because they'll pull out a book and they're like, oh, that's cool, and that's cool, and that's cool. People are talking to each other. Be part of it. Be in it. Be part of that community and talk to the people that are around you. When you do that, like, I'm trying to complete that 1970s, 80s Conan run. And I said to James, who is on the other aisle, I'm like, James, if you come across old Conan, let me know. I need them all. And it was a shotgun approach. I bought every Conan I came across, put them in the box, and then sort them out later. For 35 cents a book, you can do that. So people heard me say that, and every time somebody came across a Conan, they'd toss it over to me. Another guy was looking for the Spider-Man Obama covers. I found a big, thick stack of those and the Michelle Obama covers, and I pulled those out and gave them to him. So be part of the community when you're digging long boxes, when you're at a convention. Listen to what's going around. Everybody's there for the same reason. So take the time to communicate, to interact with those people. You won't regret it. the community likes to look out for itself, so they'll make sure that you're well taken care of. Yes, and that's the tier I'm on, for sure. Key Collector is a good reference guide. It is just not a great price guide. All right. Fable showed up. How's it going, Fable? Good to see you today, my friend. Okay, so I am going to actually take a minute. I want to show off something super cool before I take off. I don't know if I'm going to be able to score one of these for the auction. If I get a few of them sold, I probably can. Came across something at the convention that is so incredibly cool. Very cool, one-of-a-kind type item. Oh, I got two of them sitting right there. Don't want to do that one. Don't want to mess with tape when I got my gloves on. All right, we all know the rules. No glove, no love. Okay, so we've all seen the Spider-Man facsimile. This is the metal Spider-Man facsimile. Look at that. Highly reflective, beautiful book. I just wanted to show that off because I came across these. These were limited to a print run of 50 books. They did 50, and that's it. Then no more. Destroyed. So wanted to show that off. I'm going to try to score one of those to get to community members at some point. I think that would be awesome. But wanted to show that off. Going to show you a couple books real quick. Remember the charity auction, C3 charity events this weekend. We are going to be raising funds for the American Cancer Society 2 to 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Anybody in the chat, if you want to be part of that, if you want to come on, talk about books, talk about anything you want, do an auction, sell some books for charity, anything like that, shoot me a message. I would love to have any of you on. And most of you know how to get a hold of me. So again, Doctor Strange and the Sorcerer Supreme, those are going to be available this weekend in a stacker auction. I'm going to have Stort Folios available. And then I showed a couple books yesterday that Hive Comics had donated, a signature series Kaiju Score #1 with that Gallagher cover. It's been optioned. It's going to be a hot book. It's already a hot book. Like, we're seeing big time sales in the private groups, $250 for, that book. And they gave it to me to get out to the community. They are a national sponsor of the C3 movement. And they promised me a big box of raw books too. So we're going to be seeing a lot of Hive Comics. We're going to be seeing a lot of foreign books. I'm getting together with my foreign guy this week, and I know he's got first Punisher ASM 129 in a Russian edition, and I'm hoping to get some of those, some AF-15s, first Red Suit, Daredevil, Del Auto, Star Wars. Like, they're going to hook us up. They're really great about that. So a couple other books I want to highlight for this weekend. I did throw a lot of these in the stacker a couple weeks ago. This is the Del Auto Italian, not the Mexican, the Italian variant. More rare in a 9.8 CBCS. So that's going to be available. That is easily a $200 book right there. Hive Comics donated that, as well as, and we all know this gentleman's work. You've seen him on Bueller. Hess. We've got I Breed the Body #1, Brett Hess art, 9.8 CGC. Very cool book. I think I think we're looking at an option here. I think this is going to be a big one. This is one I'm specking on. I got a stack of raws for this book that I'm going to get sent off. So 9.8 Hess art. I breed the body #1. Very cool. So those are going to be available this weekend, donated by Hive Comics. So make sure you tune in for that. And again, if anybody wants to join us on the live stream, shoot me a message in the next couple of days and we'll get you on the agenda. Yes, that Hess is amazing. It is a beautiful cover. It's very early Alien kind of feel. And I'm pretty sure I can say it. So I do know that the guys over at Hive are wanting to get him on some more covers. We kind of threw out some ideas, and they were telling me some of the ideas they have for upcoming projects. Like, it's savage, like the stuff that they're going to be putting out. Them Nerd Store's also got some great stuff coming out. So, stay tuned, and we'll keep you informed on all that. So, just to recap, Road to 1,000. The links for all the channels, including our buddy Fable. He's not part of it, chose to opt himself out because of the type of content he does, but he's got some great music on his channel. Follow him on Instagram. We love Fable. Buddy, you're worth it. So, Road to 1,000. Let's get those last 2 channels up to 300, including my own, and we'll get some books out to the community. Also, Saturday, 2 o'clock to 8 o'clock Mountain Standard Time, raising money for the Hope Lodge American Cancer Society. Let's put an end to cancer. So be part of C3. And that's what I got for you guys today. I hope I didn't bore you all too much and gave you some good information. And I think next week, for circumstances, let's talk about cons. What to look for, what not to look for, what to do, what not to do, the best way to hit the con. If you want to be part of that conversation, hit me up. I usually come on after Bueller, who was not on today. But Bueller and Bob hopefully will be back next week with the regular content, and I go live right after that. So, till next time, traders.